Everything is gone. Your stuff, my stuff, most importantly, my stuff.
Not too long ago, acquisition seemed like a rare occurrence, an event that signified something big for certain markets. Today, it seems as though acquisitions are flying left and right, like tossed candy. Microsoft buys this, Sony buys that, and Nintendo sits idly by playing with its own toys. Who needs to be bought next, and for how much? Is anyone allowed to be multi-platform anymore? With Sony recently buying Bungie and Microsoft acquiring the colossal Activision Blizzard, one can safely say that we are in the midst of the acquisition wars. But are all of these buyouts actually a good thing? What does this say about the state of the games industry, and what does this mean for us, the gaming community? Welcome to MojoPlays, and this is our video on Sony versus Microsoft, the acquisition wars.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
As mentioned before, Microsoft and Sony have made a couple of bewildering buyouts within the past month. Microsoft acquired publishing giant Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion, and Sony claimed former Halo developer Bungie, known today for their work on the Destiny franchise. Understandably, these buyouts have garnered a bizarre mix of reactions from fans, critics, and pundits alike. You have folks sharing joy for developers and executives getting a little bit richer, peers relieved to see new management take hold of their respective studios, anti-corporate media outlets cheerleading for corporations using the old Yakuza cash confetti move. It can all be overwhelming to process what exactly is going on right now and how to feel about it. Well, let's unpack this nice, slowly, and carefully. No hyperbole here, and we'll start with one misconception most folks are already thinking. Sony bought Bungie because they got scared after the Activision Blizzard buyout. That simply isn't true. Talks of acquisitions occur months, sometimes years before the public ever hears about them. By the time we do hear about them, all talks have come to a solid conclusion, and it's left to the government to allow deals to close. It's much more elaborate than companies throwing money at anything they can in as little time as possible. Another frequent belief is that Microsoft and Sony are trying to restrict IPs to their respective platforms, effectively shutting the other out from additional guaranteed revenue. Of course, there's another side that argues both conglomerates understand the widespread appeal of IPs like Call of Duty and Destiny, and how they share such diverse audiences. Knowing that, they couldn't possibly make either exclusive, right? They'd suffer from massive backlash. That first bit, the one about denying revenue, won't do much. Both companies are playing a long game that does not necessarily mean eliminate all threats. Plus, they're both too big to really get that big of a hit on revenue. This isn't the Terminator. In the end, folks, it's important to understand that companies will be companies. They will make their respective games exclusive if they want to, and if not now, they will eventually. Speaking of which, that's a word that, for some reason, folks have come to detest. Exclusive. Exclusive? How dare they take away games from other people? We deserve to play that game too. Exclusives have been a part of video games for decades now. They are what help the console manufacturers sell their hardware. It's how they get us to buy the latest Xbox, the latest PlayStation, Nintendo, the latest whatever doohickey we want to get up about. This has been nothing new. So yes, expect more exclusives on both Xbox and PlayStation. After all, that's what these acquisition wars are about, and it's great for us, the gaming community. See, between Xbox and PlayStation, we've seen both platforms strive to serve every genre, every community, every type of player. When Xbox was dominating the first-person shooter conversation, what did Sony do? They invested in something they nicknamed their Halo Killer, a little series named Killzone. Did it take off the same way Master Chief did? Not exactly. It found its home with Sony, but it never grew as big as Halo has. Throughout the Xbox One's lifespan, we saw the platform trip and stumble trying to compete with Sony's narrative-driven open-world games. Heck, we recently found out Xbox has been doing internal mock reviews of Sony's games just so they can figure out how to match them. Both companies know that no matter how big they get, they don't have the chops to serve the best they can in everything. So why not buy the folks that can do that? Why continue to strain our own teams and ask them for new tricks every day when we can let them do their thing and buy someone who specializes in what we want? What Sony and Microsoft are looking for in these acquisitions is the complete buffet. They want an FPS to call their own. They want a fighting game franchise to call their own, which is kind of what Sony did with Capcom for Street Fighter V, by the by. The idea is to say, look at this awesome game that you can only play on our machine. In other words, these acquisitions have made Xbox and PlayStation recognize each other and notice that no one is messing around. And that's great. Look, no one likes seeing their favorite things locked up behind requirements they don't meet. I know that I certainly don't. If I want to play Crash Bandicoot, you know what I gotta go on? I gotta go on Xbox now.
How many times have you beaten this clown anyway?
3.
Really? Only 3? Funny. Seemed like more.
However, these acquisitions mean both platforms are trying their damn hardest now to compete for your time and money, which means there might be a lot of really amazing games heading your way regardless of what platform you choose to spend your time on. Xbox and Sony don't want to be messing around and belting out half-baked ideas now. Now, for as promising as this seems, there is some alarm to these acquisition wars. Many pundits worry over the increase in consolidation. Many IPs that were once multi-platform have now or will become exclusive to their owners' machines. Again, like I said with Crash Bandicoot, as much as I want to pot trophies on PlayStation, that may not be happening anymore. After all, third-party studios like Bungie, Bethesda, and Activision Blizzard would prove to be beneficial allies. Let's get these guys in an exclusivity contract that might push more hardware out the door. Well, not anymore now. We are in a similar period as cinema was some 70 or 80 years ago, when film distributors owned the movie theaters and their cast. If you wanted to see a John Wayne or a Marilyn Monroe movie, well, you needed to go to a theater that was owned by Paramount or Columbia or whoever had those stars under contracts. How did things change? Well, someone at Paramount let the company get too big for its britches, which made the government raise an eyebrow and order Paramount to divest themselves. However, this does not mean to raise the alarm and sound off on monopoly just yet. I know that's a huge buzzword going around the media and the community right now. The gaming landscape is much different than the film industry was at that time. Even with these acquisitions, there are still hundreds, if not thousands, of game studios still on the market. One's dying for you to pay attention to their games. There is still plenty of competition in the market, and you can buy games from several other places besides the Microsoft Store and PlayStation Store. Let's see, there's Steam, there's Nintendo eShop, Epic Games Store, GameStop, GOG, Humble Bundle, Walmart, Target, plenty of shops that still want a cut of the profits. As for the A, AA, and third-party AAA, who's to say there aren't any other companies who won't fill the same gap that the acquired did 15 to 20 years ago? Who's to say Focus Entertainment, the publishers of Greedfall and A Plague Tale, isn't already the new Activision Blizzard with its many partners? Who's to say that WayForward isn't already filling the shoes of Bethesda with its own slew of niche and retro-styled games? As companies leave, their roles in the business are taken by another. As one market is ignored, another will cater to them. It's that simple. Folks, as concerning as these acquisitions may seem, as frustrating as they can be, they aren't any real cause for alarm. They aren't trying to take our games away. They aren't trying to bully each other out of markets. They aren't even trying to make everything exclusive. I mean, just look at Sony. They flat out came out and said that Bungie games will remain multi-platform. Look at that. That's not to say they'll never make a PlayStation exclusive game, but come on. It's simply the market morphing and gestating as any other. What we need to do as customers, as folks who simply want to buy games and have a good time, we need to let our wallet speak. Buy the console with the games that speak to you most. Buy games from the companies we want to support. Not everything will speak to us. Not every facet of either machine will adhere to our every demand. Acquisitions will continue just as they do in every other industry. If you don't like it, simply don't buy it and respect others who do. It's that easy. Heck, maybe take the time to go find some other games on other platforms that you might enjoy. In the end, these are all plastic boxes that spit out ones and zeros. New companies will come along to cater to you. Competition and variety is what keeps this industry as vibrant as it is now, and whatever happens going forward, remember that it's nothing against you, the customer. It's business as usual.
That was inspiring.
Also, there will be a ton of loot!
Yeah, right? That's what I thought.